Hey everyone, Nick Dearbertis here teaching you financial modeling. And today we're going to be solving the lab exercises on graphing using Python and Pandas as part of the lecture series on understanding complex results using visualization. So for all of these lab exercises in this lecture series, we have been working off of the Pandas and visualization lab exercises Jupyter Notebook. So the first section we already completed was the Intro to Pandas section. The second section, Pandas styling, we completed that as well. And now we're coming to the third and final section on graphing with Pandas. So we already have this data frame defined from the previous sections. And now we're just going to work with it to create some graphs. So here in the first exercise, we want to create a scatter plot of price versus quantity. So that's going to be df.plot.scatter. And for scatter, you do have to give it the x and y. So I'm going to say that I want price on the x. I'm going to say that I want quantity on the y. And we can see the banana, we were supposed to have 30 quantity and 42-cent price, and here we have a 30 quantity, 42-cent price, so everything looks appropriate. And the other points are plotted there as well. Coming to exercise 2, we want to create a box and whisker plot showing the distribution of revenue. So the easiest way to do that is to first pull out the revenue column from the data frame, and then we're going to plot on that. So we can do a plot.box on that, and we will see the box and whisker plot to understand the distribution of the revenue. Then coming to the final exercise here, we want to get a pie chart of the frequency of these fruits, and we want to get histogram and density plots representing the distribution of the quantities. So the first thing that we have to do is create the data frame. So because we have a list of tuples here, we can create the data frame directly from that and by giving it the names of the columns. So I'm going to call these columns fruit and quantity. And then we can look at the data frame that we've created and everything seems appropriate. So then we want to plot this. So we can do a pie plot, and for the pie plot you do have to tell it what you want to plot as the y. So we want to plot the quantity, and so now we have a pie plot here, and we can see that one chunk is representing most of it, then the other two are smaller chunks, so that makes sense with our data, but we can't see which is which by the labels. So you can pass the labels separately. It's going to be the fruit column of the fruit data frame, and now we have the labels coming into the graph as well, and it's clear that apples represent the majority share of the fruits. Then we want to visualize the distribution of the quantity, so we can do that with a histogram. So quantity is the only numeric column, so it knows to plot that one. And we can see that 2 of the quantities are about 2, and we can see that one of the quantities is about 7. Of course, you would typically do these distribution kind of plots with many more values in the data frame. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense with 3 values in there, but this is just for sake of example. Then we can do the density plot as well. And the density plot, even more so than the histogram, really is meant for larger quantities of data because it's the smoothed out histogram, and smoothing it out doesn't make a lot of sense if you only have a few values. So we can see that the most frequent quantities are at 2, but it's a little bit misleading about the frequency of the other quantities by doing the density plot with such a small amount of data, but it still does get at the same general kind of idea. So that wraps up the lab exercises for the lecture series on understanding complex results using visualization. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.